once you go back to Korea, you're getting just one viewpoint. And I wouldn't talk only to Koreans. I would talk to Filipinos and Japanese and everybody else get different viewpoints. You could probably learn a lot. But you really don't think you want to do any business with the Philippines, or prefer not to?
Yeah, after I heard from my friends the business in the Philippines, I thought there is no way to do for me here. So I will give up the business in the Philippines.
Well, I think, what's the positive about doing business in the Philippines? What's the positive? Is there a lot of competition?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of opportunities here because you don't have a lot of people doing it. So some people make millions of dollars by doing things that no one else is doing because they can import something. No one's even, the tobacco, things like that. No one's doing it, or they're doing it well. So I think you can make money, but what were the problems your friend told you about doing business here?
Already the Chinese and Japanese, they already got the market share here. So it's really hard to cut into the market.
The Japanese do?
Yeah, Japanese and Chinese.
I haven't heard of the Japanese. I've heard of the Chinese at the top being very strong.
Yeah. That's why most of the market share is on Chinese people, and the Japanese market is bigger than Korean market. I heard.
Really, there's more Koreans here than Japanese.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. But of course, if you were to do import of products that Chinese and Koreans do not consider Japanese. That's what do we call that again? What do we call a small segment of business that nobody is doing?
Macro.
Macro is a big picture, but not bad. Micro is small. It begins with an N.
N?
Yeah. It's called a niche.
Yeah.
The problem we have as small business people is what's called barriers to entry. What do you think a barrier to entry is? It can be anything. What is a barrier?
Barrier to entry.
Right, say you go to a rock and roll concert and you want to charge a stage. I want to dance with Sting. You can, right? They have stage, and here's Sting, right? They have barriers. Right? They prevent you from going there. So, barrier, something that prevents. Sometimes they do this. Here's the seashore. They put maybe sink ships there, so the water acts as a barrier. So a barrier prevents. So a barrier to entry in business English is something that prevents other companies from coming in. All right? Either because the business is trying to create barriers to entry, or they're so big. We talked. Why not open a car manufacturer? Why not start to manufacture automobiles? Why?
In my case, manufacturing, to start a business, manufacturers, as a manufacturer, is really hard because even if I make good product, if I have nowhere to sell that product, that business will be not working.
Why can't you sell men's automobiles in Korea? Why isn't that easy?
Already the network built in the market, so it should be hard to go.
Yeah, there's huge barriers to entry. Do you have the money to advertise? like Nissan does, like Hyundai does? No. Right? The amount of money, the networks they have. Companies will create barriers to entry. Even when I was managing the retail stores, they would put expensive TVs in our store that show. Why? The little stores couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So someone who wants to open a store, well, let's not open in this city because this company has 19 stores and they have a lot of money they've spent, so they go away. Right? So that means less competition. Right? So what's a country famous for barriers to entry? Very hard to get into their market and sell. It doesn't help their country. It's one of the reasons their country has been like this for 25 years. What country is that? Begins with a J.
Japan.
Japan. So Japan is famous for barriers to entry. People would love to sell to Japan. Lots of people, rich country, but good networks, efficient. But there are significant barriers to entry for foreign companies to sell in Japan. Is that good for Japanese consumers? Yeah, see, Japanese usually say this. Why do Japanese it's good for Japanese companies because they don't have competition, as much competition. So many Japanese believe it. But cost of products, right, stays high. Right? Less choice for Japanese consumers, things like that. Companies don't have to be more efficient, Japanese companies, because they have the market. Other countries do this too, with barriers to entry. So they're very, very high now in many industries. Even Amazon now, 50 cents of every dollar on the internet goes to Amazon. 50%. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Walmart, 45% of retail. Right? So someone like you, there's barriers to entry, but you can always find things that are not being sold. There's still opportunities here. I find things every day, import, export. What's some other problems about doing business in the Philippines? Adi, did you check your email today?
I couldn't.
You couldn't? Why?
Because of the problem of internet.
Things like internet, transportation. What do we call that? Infrastructure. So the Philippines still has a poor infrastructure. They say the internet is good, but it's terrible. Right? Things like that. That's another problem. What's another problem? What do we call this? Americano, you want to do money. Corruption. Right? Corruption is very, very bad in the Philippines. How does that hurt business? How does that make it difficult for your business?
In our country?
Yeah, I don't think Japan, Korea are very bad. Japan, right? Yeah. But what about in the Philippines? How does that hurt the Philippines? You want to open import-export? Why is corruption bad? What's going to happen? People come to you. Hello, man, I'm with the police. Right? Bring things through customs. Oh, well, it's going to be there 3 weeks. Why 3 weeks? 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a cost, time, money, right? Things like that. Interesting. You can make money here, but if you show your money, What do Filipinos do? What do some Filipinos do? Do you see a lot of rich people walking around the Philippines? I'm very rich. Do you? Do they show their money or hide their money? Hide. Why? What happens to people who show their money?
They want to steal the money.
Yeah, steal here. And there they take, right? There was the guy who was doing the import, Australian, who knew the guy from the gym there, imported health food products and making a lot of money. And the Filipino man I know said, you're showing your money. Don't do that. Nice car, 2 girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
He wouldn't listen. One night the police went over. Give us some money. No, I'm from Australia. Shut his house up. Right? But next day he left. He was so scared.